Hello everybody, Shafiq here. It's 1 o'clock, it's Thursday, I hope you're doing well. Today is International Man Day 2020, and like I do every year, I do a blog on the 19th of November, just to get behind us chaps. And if you're a girl there, or a mother, or an auntie, you just want to get behind you guys to say they're doing a good job, this is the place to point them to. So for those of you that see me for the first time, my name is Shafiq Villasanti. I'm a coach, an author and a speaker, an author of this book, There's No Shame. Get it from www.shafiqempowermentcoaching.co.uk. But most importantly, I am the survivor of 2 suicide attempts. And that's right, you heard it. I said it as confidently as saying 20 pounds of diesel and pump number 3. And let's be honest, why shouldn't I say it? As I always say, 1 in 4 people in the country, United Kingdom here and generally worldwide, will struggle with a mental health condition. So there's a bloody good chance one of those guys or girls is going to be a guy, and 3/4 of all suicides here in the United Kingdom are committed, seen out, actioned by chaps. And that's a staggering amount. 3/4 of all people who reach that point in their lives, like I did, will take the action to see it out. So this is why it's really important as us guys today get talking and give ourselves a pat on the back, because it is tough to be a chap. It is tough. One fact that a lot of people might not know is that 83% of all homeless individuals are men. And why is that? A lot of it is because us guys are shamed into thinking that we failed. A lot of us guys will want to run away. A lot of us guys will hide and just say that I can't take the stress anymore. So we move away. And that's awful, because quite literally, if we were to open up and talk, and if we were to see the support that is around us through friends and family and NHS and Mind Matters and Recovery College and all the other places and the Samaritans, we would be able to steer our path in a more wholesome, dare I say, a more directed manner to get ourselves back on an even keel. So one of the big stigmas we always say is that guys don't talk. Why would guys talk? We keep it in amongst ourselves, we don't know how to talk. But as I always say, and if you've been to one of my presentations or you heard me speak before, what do we do on Stag Do's? Give us a couple of ciders and a couple of Jack Daniels and Cokes. We put the world to right. We talk, we open up. And a point of interest here is, recently, if you follow me on my social media handles on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, wherever it might be, you might have seen that I was out for my younger brother's 40th recently. Dare I say he's younger by a number of years. But crucially, I was sitting there with 7 other compatriots, all of us chaps. All of us have gone through our lives, through school, college, all got children now. And every one of us said that when we had watched Up, when we had watched Home, when we had watched other numerous things on Disney Channel, it got us blubbering. So us guys aren't social dinosaurs. We're not emotional dinosaurs. We do have the emotional content to open up and speak. Okay, so if you are struggling day to day, remember to give yourself a pat on the back. Crucially, it's tough being a guy. It's tough being a guy during this COVID time. Lots of businesses are going under. There's lots of uncertainty. There's lots of pressures being put on us, and I was one of those. If you know anything about me and the story of my book, it's all in the book there. I know exactly what it's like to lose everything. I know exactly what it's like to have to walk into a job centre. I know exactly what it's like to have to go to state and think, what on earth am I doing? I know exactly what it's like to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, to do a paper round at my age in order to pay the bills, to walk the dogs, to do the gardening, to do anything that I could find. I was ashamed of doing it, but what most importantly I did, and this is crucial for anybody that's struggling, I took ownership of it. And once I understood that what I was doing was for a greater reason, then I wasn't ashamed of it anymore. So what? You know what I was doing? I was providing for my wife, I was providing for my children, I was providing this roof over our heads. And that's one thing that you've got to understand. Once you accept that something is happening in your life, once you take ownership of it, once you acknowledge it, most importantly, then you will be able to use it to spur you on. Don't use that situation you find yourself in to define who you are. In 2016, when I was heading towards that Central Reservation at 50 miles an hour because I just wanted to check out for the second time in my life, did that define there and then who I was? No. What it did inadvertently, and what I didn't know, was that it was going to define where I didn't ever want to go back again and the person that I wanted to become. I used it as my barometer that I will not get that low again. I'd hit the floor that hard that there's only one way to go. I'd walked back to a corner now for the second time in my life where I realised I have to move forward. So sometimes in life, and if you've gone to my seminars, if you've gone to my presentations, you understand that we're like a bow and arrow. You might be that arrow that you're, excuse me for the uncomfort, back's playing up. You'll be drawn back and back and back. You'll be moving further away from your goal. but there become a point where you snap and then you're propelled towards that direction that you're in. Little things like that really do start to tip the scales in your favour of where you see and where you want to become. Another thing, being a guy is a privilege. Being a guy is a privilege. Now look at it this way, look at it how I look at it. When you're a guy, and if you're walking down the high street and there's something going on and there's a burglary and a robbery or whatever it might be, who are the people going to turn to? Are they going to turn to the lady, or are they going to turn to the guy? They're going to turn to the guy because the guy's the big guy, he's the protector, he's the guy who's going to run, he's going to protect. That is an accolade that you walk around every day. And we lose sight of what it is to be a guy. We lose sight of the fact that we get up, we go to work, we turn up with that emotional rock for our children, that emotional rock for our wives, that emotional rock for our colleagues at work. What is your benchmark? My benchmark would be my grandfather Barbel, my great-grandfather George Impeace, First World War, Second World War. They were my benchmarks. My dad is my benchmark, but times have moved on. Just because they got through the wars, just because they got through such trying times, doesn't necessarily mean, because if you can't do that, then you failed. No, what it means is if you have failed, if you have struggled, that you've reached a certain point in your life where you go, you know what, this isn't working out for me. You've understood now what doesn't work for you. Don't be defined by the fact that you've had to do an about turn and come back and go, what do I try next? You've learned, just like I learned, that ligature in 2006 and that central reservation in 2016 was not my get out of jail card. My get out of jail card was what I had in here, and what I surrounded myself with. So, and thanks to those guys that are watching. Good to see you, Julian, another great guy, twin brother there. And everybody else is going to join me later in the day. Just remember that on International Man Day, give yourself a pat on the back. Allow yourself that time out. Don't run yourself so ragged that you get to the point where you're in that such a headspin that all you do is lash out and you get angry. Because by getting angry and by lashing out, you just start to relive it over and over again. Don't go to the pub and have 25 ciders and start a fight, because all you're doing, even though you're crying out for help, you're just keeping yourself in that mindset, that's anger, that's frustration. Allow yourself time to walk away and be calm. Don't be fearful, don't be overwhelmed. There is always another option. There is always another option. Trust me. When I was walking into those job centres, when I was applying for help from the state, when I was at my lowest point, I always knew there was a reason for this. There was a way out of this. And what I was doing in that moment was the best thing that I could possibly do, was the best thing that I could summon up to do. And as I always say, as long as you're moving forward, you are trying. It's when you stand still and expect different results from the same situation that you're living in and doing every day, you won't see the change. So on a day like today, 2020, 19th of November, International Man Day, give yourself a pat on the back. Open up to friends. Have dialogue with friends and family. Tell them how you're feeling. Don't be ashamed of how you're feeling. As I say, 1 in 4 people will be struggling. 3/4 of all attempt suicides, successful suicides, are committed by men. So you've got to look after yourselves. You've got to have the dialogue. You've got to reach out to the GP. You've got to reach out to people like myself. You've got to reach out to friends and families, confidants. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't live in shame. That is a barometer of how hard you've tried, and now you want to move on and move forward. That's what I say on a day like today. Good to see you, Sue. Good to see you, Brenda. Good to see you, Julian and Dina and everybody else who's watching. But give those guys in your life, give those children in your life, give those men in your life, give those grandfathers in your life, give those nephews in your life an arm around. If you can, a virtual arm on a day like today. So let's get those WhatsApps, let's get those messages, let's get those phone calls, let's get those photographs, let's get those emails going out. Give them an arm around their shoulders and say, you're doing a great job. I'm super proud of what you're doing. And if you need any help, I'm here to help. Okay. And one thing I'll ask you to do today is, if you've watched this, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Please share. Please put a comment in just to say, watch this on a day like today. It's a really significant day, and that you're not alone. Have the most amazing day. Thanks for your love and support. And I'll catch up with you soon. And if you need any more information on what I do day to day, visit www.shafiqempowermentcoaching.co.uk, or see all my social media handles, as we say. Have the most amazing day. Thanks for your love and support as always. Take care. Cheers. Bye.